All right, it's video 3. Video 3 that I definitely have not just hit the wrong button for. So luckily, it just so happens that I have all of video 3 ready for you right now. So the idea for midpoints is that it's basically finding averages, okay? So if we look at this, what is the average between 3 and 5? What's in the middle of 3 and 5? The answer is 4. Right? What's the average of -1 and 3? What's in the middle of -1 and 3? And the answer is going to be +1. That's what midpoints are. And the actual formula to find an average is to add the two things together and divide by 2. For example, if we add these two things together, we get 8. Divide by 2 is 4. Add these together, you get +2. Divide by 2 is 1. So to find the midpoint, we just have to find the averages of the x's and the averages of the y's. So we get this nice handy-dandy formula right here. Average the x's, average the y's. And be very careful not to confuse distance formula and midpoint. In the distance formula, right, we look at what is the difference between the x's and the difference because of the y's. So it's subtraction, difference, subtraction. In the midpoint formula, we're looking at the average. So we need to add them together and divide by 2. So this is going to be a plus, so watch out for that. And there's a good way, a good gut check way to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Okay, so example 3, find the midpoint of the line segment that connects these 2 points, blah, blah, blah. It's a very long question, but find the midpoint for purposes of this instructional video. I can get as pedantic as you want later. If you just ask me, Jason, I want you to be very pedantic, and I'll go ahead and do that for you. But in the meantime, let's just do it. -1, 1, 7 and -4. If you want, just like in the distance formula, you can label, this is our x1, this is our x2, this is our y1, this is our y2. You can label that, okay? And again, it would be a good idea also to rewrite the formula again. I didn't do it this time. So the midpoint is just the averages of the x's, which we have right here. Add them together, divide by 2. And the averages of the y's. Add the y's together, divide by 2. And at that point, it just becomes simplifying. -1 + 7 just becomes 6, right? And you simplify and sweep cat hairs off of your paper. And you get 3, -3/2 is our answer. That's our midpoint. There's a lot of different ways you can express this. I really like improper fractions, but some people prefer decimals, and that's okay. -1.5 is a very good way to express this number. I really don't prefer mixed numbers, -1.5. They definitely have their uses, but in a math class, mixed numbers are very hard to work with because when we write things next to each other in math, we usually mean multiplication. And the higher we go in math, the more and more this sort of thing is going to confuse us in operations. And I say confuse, not actually confuse, just make it a little bit messier and harder to deal with. So you want to use mixed numbers for your final answer, that's A-OK, full points. I won't even give you a sad face, but I would not recommend it, okay? So there's a good way to check your answer. Is this actually our midpoint? Did we do the formula right? Let's find out. Just plot the points. So -1, 1, we plotted that right here. That's our first point. You can call it like P1 or something. 7, -4, that's our second point, P2. 3, -3/2. Is this kind of look like the middle? Sure. Yeah, kind of like the middle. Yeah. If you plotted this point over here, if you plotted our answer and it was way out here in the Bahamas, yeah, you probably messed up. You don't want to be in the Bahamas. You want to be in Rock Springs. And the metaphor is breaking down, but that's the idea. Okay. You should be able to do these problems now. So go do these immediately right after this video, fresh in your mind. You can use the midpoint formula yourself, and then you can go on to the next stuff. All right. Definitely remember to record this time. Not that I forgot before, but yeah, enjoy those homework problems.